If your cat sleeps with their back turned to you, most people assume it means the cat is indifferent or simply comfortable, or just happened to land that way. But feline behaviorists read that position completely differently. Turning away from someone, in the social language of cats, is not a sign of disinterest. It is one of the most deliberate trust signals in their entire behavioral vocabulary. And if your cat does this regularly, they have been telling you something important every single night. Most owners just never knew how to hear it. Hello friends, I want to thank everyone who watches this video and supports the channel. Every like, every comment, and every share means more than you think for me and for my dreams. Without delay, let's begin. To understand why a cat sleeping with its back to you carries such psychological weight, you first have to understand something about how cats experience vulnerability, unlike humans, who can afford to let their guard down in sleep without much consequence. A cat's relationship with sleep is shaped by millions of years of existing as both predator and prey. Sleep is the moment of greatest exposure. It is the window during which awareness drops, reaction time slows, and the ability to respond to a threat is at its lowest. Every choice a cat makes about where to sleep, how to position itself, and who or what to sleep near is shaped by this underlying reality. Sleep for a cat is never entirely casual. This is why the direction a cat faces while sleeping matters more than most people realize. When a cat positions itself so that its back is toward you, it is making a specific choice about threat orientation. The back of the body is the most defensively exposed position. The face, the claws, the ability to see and respond are all directed away from you. In feline behavioral logic, you do not expose your back to something you are uncertain about. You orient toward potential threats, not away from them. So when your cat turns their back to you and closes their eyes, what they are communicating in the clearest possible terms is that you have been removed from the category of things that require monitoring. You are not a variable they need to account for. You are simply part of the safety of the environment itself. Research into feline attachment and social behavior has consistently shown that cats are not the solitary, emotionally detached creatures they were once assumed to be. A landmark study conducted at Oregon State University demonstrated that the majority of domestic cats display recognizable attachment behaviors toward their owners, comparable in structure to the attachment bonds observed between human infants and caregivers. The cats in that study were not simply seeking food or warmth from their owners, they were seeking the specific emotional experience of security that a trusted presence provides, and the way they demonstrated that security was not through constant eye contact or physical closeness, it was through the willingness to be fully at ease in that person's presence. Sleeping with their back turned is one of the clearest expressions of that ease. Imagine your cat spending the first few months in your home sleeping in separate rooms, always facing the doorway, always positioned where they could see the entire space around them. Then one evening, without any particular change in routine, they settle onto the bed beside you and arrange themselves so they are facing the wall, their back curved gently toward your side. Nothing dramatic happened, no milestone was reached that you could identify, but something shifted in their internal assessment of you, and that shift showed up in the direction they chose to sleep. That quiet repositioning was a conclusion they had been working toward for months. You just did not know you were being evaluated. Research into feline attachment and social behavior has consistently shown that cats are not the solitary, emotionally detached creatures they were once assumed to be. A landmark study conducted at Oregon State University demonstrated that the majority of domestic cats display recognizable attachment behaviors toward their owners, comparable in structure to the attachment bonds observed between human infants and caregivers. The cats in that study were not simply seeking food or warmth from their owners, they were seeking the specific emotional experience of security that a trusted presence provides, and the way they demonstrated that security was not through constant eye contact or physical closeness, it was through the willingness to be fully at ease in that person's presence. Sleeping with their back turned is one of the clearest expressions of that ease. The sensory dimension of this adds another layer worth understanding. Cats possess an extraordinarily refined sensory system, particularly in the areas of hearing and scent. Even while sleeping, a cat's auditory processing remains partially active. They can detect sounds and vibrations that register far below the threshold of human perception. This means that when a cat sleeps facing away from you, they are in part relying on that sensory sensitivity to compensate for the visual exposure. They are trusting that they would hear or feel anything that required a response before it became a problem. But here is the key part. They are also trusting that nothing in your presence will require that response in the first place. They are not just relying on their own senses. They are relying on their accumulated experience of you. This connects to a concept in feline psychology called environmental anchoring, the process by which a cat links specific people, spaces, and routines with a stable emotional baseline. When something or someone becomes an anchor, it means the cat's nervous system has assigned that presence a consistent emotional value, specifically the value of calm. You do not become an anchor quickly. It takes repeated interactions that end the way the cat expected them to. It takes mornings that unfold predictably, evenings that feel familiar, and countless small moments where the cat approached, assessed, and found nothing that warranted concern. The cat that sleeps facing away from you has built an internal model of who you are. And that model says, safe, consistent, known. Consider another scenario that many cat owners recognize. Your cat sleeps at the foot of the bed every night, facing the door. They are present, but oriented outward, keeping watch on the room's entry point. Then, over time, without you doing anything deliberately different, they begin sleeping closer to your body. Eventually, they are sleeping pressed against your legs or tucked against your back, facing away from the door entirely and toward the wall. What changed was not the room or the bed or the routine. What changed was the depth of their certainty about you. The door stopped being the most important thing to monitor because you became the reference point for safety instead. There is also something meaningful in the physicality of back-to-back or back-to-body sleeping that goes beyond behavioral signaling. When a cat presses their back or side against you while sleeping, they are experiencing your presence through touch and warmth and the subtle rhythm of your breathing. These are deeply regulating sensory inputs. The slow, consistent sound of a human breathing during rest has a measurable calming effect on cats that share sleeping space with their owners. Your presence in those moments is not just emotionally significant, it is physiologically stabilizing. The cat that sleeps against your back is, in a very literal sense, regulating their nervous system using yours. Most people who notice their cat sleeping in this position feel a quiet fondness for it, but do not think much beyond that. What they are missing is the full weight of what they have earned. That position is not accidental, and it is not just physical comfort-seeking. It is the behavioral endpoint of a long process of trust building that the cat conducted almost entirely in silence. Every time you moved calmly around them, every time you let an interaction end on their terms, every time you were present without being demanding, every one of those moments was being logged somewhere in the cat's assessment of who you are. And the sleeping position you see now is the sum of all of it. There is one final layer to this that tends to land differently once you fully take it in. Cats cannot choose to trust the way humans can. They cannot decide to feel safe as an act of will. Their sense of security is not a feeling they generate through reasoning or positive thinking. It is a physiological state that either exists or does not, based entirely on the actual patterns of their environment. When your cat sleeps facing away from you, they are not making a philosophical choice to trust you. Their nervous system has simply arrived at a state of genuine calm in your presence. You did not earn that trust by being lovable or by caring about them, though those things matter. You earned it by being consistent, by being readable, by being the same person, day after day, until they stop needing to watch for what you might do next. Maybe the most meaningful thing a cat can communicate is not something they say when they are looking at you. Maybe it is what they do when they look away, close their eyes, and breathe slowly into the quiet of a space you share together. That is not indifference. That is the deepest kind of peace one creature can offer another. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help me achieve my life dream. Because at the end of the day, my friend, we both love cats. And goodbye.